All right, everybody, we ready? Brian, why don't you get us going?
Yeah, Coach. Any update on the Grade Bowl imaging from this morning?
Yeah, so really fortunate. I guess we avoided a significant injury, which is really positive. I'd say the words I heard were day to day. So, um, you know how that goes. It could be day to day. It could be a week. It could be more than that. So, but nothing significant, which is a huge positive.
And then I'm just curious, Coach, do you find that in these division games that it's more likely that your people save things for those games, or that there's going to be surprises, or that you just know these teams so well that you know what's coming?
I don't know many coaches that hold things. I think it's tough to do. I do think it's different because I do think you know each other really well, and it's we're 2 years into this thing on our defensive and special team scheme. It's our first year with our offensive scheme, so I think it's the beginning of that learning phase too. I mean, we're a year into this thing, so it'll be definitely interesting for the games to come.
Thanks.
Jen?
Defensively, coach, why did the team seem to be so effective on first down yesterday?
Well, we knew. I mean, the Rams have a great early down operation. They change cadences and they shift in motion a lot, and that was a big point of emphasis throughout the week, is making sure our cleats were in the ground and we had 100% on our comms. And I thought for the most part we did that, especially on early downs, and then our guys can go play when that happens. So, tribute to how they trained all week and how they practiced, and I thought it showed up in the game.
Of course, you wanted the win, but in what ways was this a confidence boost, especially for the defense?
I think you leave every game with things that you're excited about, and things that you learn from your team about who we can become. Yesterday was no different, and you're leaving every game saying, hey, what could be, from if we can learn from these things and grow from our mistakes and grow from and understand some things on the preparation end that we can improve. That's also exciting to know that hey, look where we can go if we handle all these other things too. So I think that's what you're taking from every game, yesterday included.
Corbin?
Coach, going back to the final couple minutes of the first half yesterday, with you being a defensive-minded coach, how do you handle balancing the act between wanting to be aggressive and playing keep away there, especially with a team like the Rams? That's something that you actively make part of your game plan each week, depending on the opponent, or is it just kind of something that's fluid during the course of the game?
Well, we have our end of half strategy on going into games, and normally that's pretty consistent. It does change a little bit based off the opponent and some other things going in. And in general, yeah, we're not in the business of letting them score, and the easiest way for them to do that is to have the ball. So we're trying to really score at the end of the half. But you do want to give yourself enough time where you can have all plays available, and so you're not kind of constricted there. And I actually thought we handled the end of the half really well. I mean, if something were to happen, going in, I mean, really the only thing that could have happened that we could have gotten, put in a tough spot if there was a defensive penalty that put us down like the 1 yard line, and we really only had like one play left, in terms of time, where, you could have maybe had, one or two plays. So them not having any timeouts allowed us to operate like that.
How did you feel about the way that the pass rush played out after the first few drives? It seemed like that first punt that you guys forced, that after that, you guys were able to get Matthew Stafford at least off of his normal rhythm in the pocket, and not a lot of snaps. But how did you feel the way that the pass rush played there for the last 3 quarters of the game?
Right. For the most part, I thought our guys played extremely hard in the back end, and we're assignment sound, played with the right leverages, and did a good job to kind of get them off rhythm sometimes. You look at the metrics and what we look at on defense of how much we affected the quarterback, and we didn't meet our mark yesterday. So there's room to grow as well. But the guys rushed hard. I thought they rushed together. We were making like team decisions, which is great. And I thought we made smart decisions when we did get to the quarterback and hitting him legally, and also making him sure make him know that we were there as well. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's good, but it's also, hey, we didn't hit our mark. And I think when you're not affecting the quarterback consistently, that's one of the metrics that really drives winning football.
Masvita.
Hey, Mike, going back to your decision making, you talked a little bit about this in the morning. How do you balance the analytical and the gut instinct? And has that changed a little bit in the last couple of years or not?
I think it's always evolving in terms of what our risk appetite is and what we're trying to do. I think for me personally, I feel like where I've grown is taking the mentality of trying to be let's figure out how let's go win the game. We're trying to go win football games rather than what's a way, kind of taking a way around it, a certain situation. So that drives a lot of our decision making. I think when the analytics are aligned with your intuition, that definitely makes it an easier decision to make. And when they're juxtaposed, then you're you got to trust your gut about how well certain sides of the ball are playing, the score of the game, things like that. I don't know. It's probably not an exact science. Probably not a very good answer either. I'm sorry.
Might not have been the best of questions, but how did Josh Jobe? Well, let me rephrase that. What did he allow you to do his return on the back end there?
Well, we saw that we do have depth at corner where Nehemiah came in and played good football for us against Arizona. But when you have Reek, Josh, and Spoon out there, it's 3 starting corners that are playing good football, and it allows us to match up a little bit more. And I think we did that yesterday. And the guys like that. When you let them match up every once in a while, I think any really good corner is going to appreciate that challenge.
Thank you.
Curtis.
Yeah, Mike, Sam's been so good for you this year. When you kind of go back and evaluate those interceptions yesterday, what kind of stands out to you? Is there a common thread among it? Is it some pressure avoidance and trying to get rid of the ball from what's coming in his face? What do you kind of see when you kind of break that down and see what happened with those plays yesterday?
Yeah, I think the majority of them came late in downs where we just need to get to the next play. And Sam's played in time and in rhythm a lot this year, and he's made a lot of plays for us doing that, and he's also made a lot of plays off schedule. So again, you don't want to take the playmaker out of him, but you also need to understand when we need to be able to get the next play versus putting the ball in jeopardy down the field, and we'll learn from it and we'll grow from it. But that's really what we saw.
And then I know you spoke about it a little bit this morning, but when you hear what Ernest has to say to come out and kind of back Sam after a game like that, just to kind of have somebody step up and vocalize it in a way like that, what can that kind of mean for you guys, and how does it speak to the group you got right now?
Well, I think he speaks for the whole team. I think that's the way everybody feels. We fell short yesterday. There's no other way to slice it. The Rams, they won the game. They won it fair and square. They played better than us and coached better than us, and that's what happens. So it's a tough one. You got to, but like all these losses, you can't let it beat you twice. You got to go back. You got to take it on the chin. You got to move forward. You got to learn from it, and that's what we've done today, and that's what we intend to do. And then, starting 45 minutes ago, we moved on to Tennessee.
John.
Yeah, Mike, before last week, you guys have had pretty much the same 5 up front all season. How'd you see it go with Olu at center yesterday, and then Christian when he came in late in the game?
Yeah, for Christian not having really been active and seeing his first football action, I thought he did a good job. There's some things he's going to clean up, and he'll do that. I thought Olu did a tremendous job, stepping in, being ready to go, decisive with his calls. Again, things that we need to clean up as a front, as an offensive line, but it's not for a lack of effort, and we'll get those things fixed. I mean, we're just continuing to grow. You see a lot of great things. You see us it's kind of like working with guys on our defense. Like, you're trying to ask them to find new things to screw up. So it's a positive that there's new things each week that pop up that we want to be able to attack.
Greg?
Sir, back to the cornerbacks, the corners, and the matchups. Are you getting to the point where it's almost NBA style, where you're going to put a corner on a specific receiver, and because of the surplus of starting corners, you're not going to lay your cards out, but would that lend itself to more man defense just because of the skill sets?
I think it just gives you more flexibility. So if we did want to do that, Greg, we can. I mean, which is exciting, and we've had the capability of doing that, but I think our guys have shown that they're good man-to-man defenders, and Nick does a great job too. Ernest has done a great job in man coverage, so it gives us that opportunity. I mean, a lot of times we are playing some form of zone, and our guys are really good at that too. So it's kind of up to us as coaches to make a good balance and make it clean going throughout the week, because it's hard to do both all the time. There's a lot of detail that goes into it. When you start playing man, there's all sorts of, and they know you're playing man. There's also sorts of things you have to be able to work through that, you got to aggregate some of those reps so the guys get used to it. And compared to the things that that how teams are going to attack you when you're in some of our, staple type, zone coverages.
And your running back rotation, specifically in the red zone. We saw Helani yesterday on first down in the red zone multiple times. Kenneth Walker and his ability to, in traffic, to get guys miss, is he maybe a consideration to tweak those rotations at the red zone and short yardage near the goal line?
I think Ken's showing the ability. He's showing that he's earning more opportunities to get the ball, and all three of our backs are doing a great job. And I think you really felt Ken yesterday, and just even in the pass game too, like on checkdowns and finding him, late in the play, just shows you that he's such an explosive player with the ball in his hands, and he knows there's things that he needs to clean up in his game too, and he's done a great job in practice doing that, and we'll continue to do that. But I think Ken's showing that he deserves some more opportunities.
Is he through all the health things from the summer and not needing to pace him through that anymore?
Well, we're not just going to give one of our running backs 100% of the snaps. That's just not responsible for a whole season. So we're not going that far. But to my knowledge, Ken, as good as you can feel going into week 11 or 12 or whatever it is, I think he's pretty clean, healthy.
Bob?
Yeah, Mike, any update on Tyrese Knight at all?
Yeah, so concussion protocol. Saw him today. He's in good spirits, but he's in it. So we'll see how he passes all the hurdles. But we've seen how that goes, Bob. On how the cadence of these things go. So honestly, I don't know how long it's going to be, but he's just in it right now. Yeah.
And one more, you mentioned on the radio on the last drive of the game, there was maybe something time-wise you might have done differently or whatever. Was there anything specific you had in mind there on that you thought maybe could have done? Obviously, you guys were up against it being at the 1 yard line.
Yeah, I think in general, we actually just Brian and I are going through our clock running operation throughout the season, and it's been pretty good. Now I think you started making some of these decisions, and I think you actually have to add maybe a second or two on your operation because you're dealing with silent cadence on the road. We could have done the first clock running play. We needed to be able to improve on that. We were in a tough spot with AJ being on the sideline, him having to run into the hash, which could have been better. And really the big decision was, do you take the timeout? I think it was 36 seconds, maybe it was a little bit more. Clock running to hold it, or do you hold the timeout and try to hold off the ability to use the whole field like we did there with 5 seconds to go. So different schools of thought, different philosophies. It's one that's kind of tested our, we've had some stress tests with that type of philosophy and all the 2-minute scenarios we do. And we've really been at consensus to keep rolling and try to stay on the ball and keep pressure on the defense while holding your timeout. So that's what we did.
All right, great, thank you.
Brian?
Yeah, Coach, I was curious if there was a player or a play that stood out to you after watching the film that maybe didn't jump out watching it in real time.
The 4th and 1 that got out against us on defense, Nick Emmanwori made a tremendous tackle at the 1-yard line, gave us a chance to get out of that drive. We had a play last week against Arizona that I felt like we didn't finish very well on McBride touchdown, and just shows you the resolve and the growth that that Nick's showing. But that was a phenomenal play.
Thanks,
Brady.
Well, my question is on Nick as well. He's basically become an every down guy for the most part for the last month or so.
Yep.
What allows him to do that? I mean, is it as simple as he can tackle and cover? I mean, he's doing it against, yesterday, a bunch of 3 tight ends, or 3 receivers in previous games. Yep. What allows a guy to be an every down player in that role?
He's a special talent. He's, to me, the input, it's like you see the inputs on a daily basis. You see his attitude about trying to nail the game plan and his attention to detail. And when that's there, in addition to the physical capability, you want to work with guys like that. And he's going to help us win by being out there. And so that's really that's what's driving that decision to have him out there and try to find more spots. And he's doing a great job. And there's things each week that you say, hey, look, okay, here's the next iteration of your game that you got to take it to, and he's taking on those challenges, and it's just but if he didn't have the attitude that he had and the sense of urgency about being on his details and understanding his assignments, learning really 2 different separate positions, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing with Nick.
And one more just on the D-line rotation. Leonard played, I think, all but 4 snaps, and some of your other starters played quite a bit. Is that just a matter of, was that the Rams' tempo keeping you guys from substituting, or just the fact that there weren't that many plays overall, so they were fine playing that many?
I think it's more the latter. You go in with a plan about how you're going to handle their tempo, which, like the second play of the game, I dropped the ball on that one, so the guys bailed me out there, but they really didn't go no huddle much. There's one no huddle into 3rd down. They really didn't have any 2-minute snaps. So that was really, that would prevent us from subbing, obviously, in those situations. And then I think just the way that played out in the second half, there just wasn't as many snaps as we probably anticipated. So that's probably why it shook out that way.
Thank you.
Okay, a couple more. Curtis?
Yeah, Mike, AJ ends up with 10 catches for 70 yards for you, a handful of key 3rd down conversions, the short yardage gain and everything. Well, can you kind of speak to his performance in the game yesterday and kind of what he's meant to you overall, taking that lead tight end role so far this season?
Well, he's accepted the challenge. I mean, it's you got to be able to, it's kind of like people on defense playing 2 different positions. You got to learn all the blocking schemes, all the pass protections, and then be solid, and running multiple routes and being sure-handed when Sam finds you. So he's been found in those situations. It's great. That's a great example of Sam working through his progressions and finding him late in the down that he's doing at a high level. A lot of those catches that AJ have, he's not number one in the progression, and Sam's clicking through it. So that's a positive. There's a couple of plays that we went back with AJ yesterday. He knows that, and he'll grow from it. But he's been a tremendous asset to our team. But and we expect him to take the next step.
Last question, Greg.
Yes, sir. Take us back on the timing at the end of the game again. With 5 seconds and 1 timeout, is 6 yards about as far as you're able to go there, whatever you're studied? And did you think maybe you got a fortunate clock there? How thinly were you slicing that at the end?
We're about as thinly as you can slice it. So, we want the ball to be out. Dang near has to be out, immediately without getting into all the strategy behind it. But It's shown that there is examples though where you can gain you can get a catch and throw, or some sort of completion ball and get down within 5 seconds. So that's why.
What's the max yards you think you can do that in 4 seconds in this case?
I'm not sure. I mean, it can't be probably not. It's probably not 10. It's probably 5 to 7 probably.
Did Myers tell you, or I mean, that was the field that he got 61 yards as career high to that end 5 years ago. Did he tell you what his? I mean,
we're right at the line, if not behind it. So we didn't exactly put J-My in a great position right there, but to his credit, he's going to go out there and give it his best, but we just felt, I think we had a similar situation last year, which was actually probably longer. I don't remember what the situation, what game was it, but that we asked him to hit a long one, but it's just in my experience, just if he hits it clean and we get a chance, it's right at the edge of the line. It's probably better odds than throwing up a Hail Mary.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you Wednesday.
Okay. All right. Thank you.